Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making one of the most popular recipes on the blog, and it's Halal cart chicken and rice at home and even better. These chicken and rice bowls are super popular in New York, but if you don't live there and the craving hits, this recipe is going to satisfy it. It's super easy to make and it's great for meal prepping or if you have guests over for dinner and you want to impress them. So let's get right into it. So there's basically 3 different parts to making this recipe all come together. The first is the yellow rice, the second part is the chicken shawarma, and the third part is making that signature famous Halal cart white sauce. The first thing that we're going to start on is making our chicken shawarma. The reason why we start off with this first is so that while we prep our rice, our sauce, all our veggies, the chicken has a lot of time to marinate and really soak up all that flavor. Now the recipe calls for 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Of course you can always use breast instead of thigh, but just know that thigh meat comes out a lot more juicier, which is what we really want for shawarma. Here are all the ingredients you will need. Olive oil, juice of 2 lemons, a lot of minced garlic, and then it's time for all our spices. This is what the marinade is gonna look like. Now we're just gonna saran wrap it, cover it, and put it in the fridge until we're ready to cook it. Okay, so I have a huge tip when you're making a recipe with multiple components like this one. Start out by making the components that can stay cold. So for example, the white sauce as well as the chicken shawarma marinade. Then you'll save the components that will be served warm at the end. For example, the rice and the chicken after we cook it. This will save you an extra step of reheating the food, which is also gonna dry it out at the same time. So let's make the white sauce now. The first thing we're gonna add is our most essential ingredient to making Halal cart white sauce, and that's mayonnaise. Now this is an ingredient I like to add that is not traditionally found in the Halal cart white sauce, but I think it just cuts out from the taste of mayo, especially if you're not a huge fan. It's a garlic spread called toom, which just means garlic in Arabic. And I buy it from Trader Joe's. You can also make it from scratch. Now we'll add some sour cream, or you can swap it out for plain whole milk yogurt. Now we're gonna go in heavy with some black pepper, add a little bit of lemon juice, and just a bit of sugar to balance all the acid out. The last thing we're gonna add is a few tablespoons of water just to thin out the sauce a little bit. This is how it's gonna look like when it's done, super smooth and creamy. Feel free to taste it and adjust anything to your liking. Now we'll also cover that with saran wrap and pop it in the fridge until we're ready to eat. Okay, so our sauce is done, and now we're gonna move on to prepping our veggies, and we just have some Roma tomatoes as well as some lettuce. We're just sticking to the basic vegetables that most Halal carts use, but feel free to switch it up with whatever you like. Some other options include black olives, any sort of mixed greens, cucumbers would be amazing, or some roasted veggies like bell peppers, eggplant, cauliflower. Okay, our tomatoes are all chopped. Now we're gonna move on to our lettuce. Usually I would use iceberg, just like Halal guys and most Halal carts do, but I didn't want to go to a separate store to find iceberg lettuce, and I already had romaine in my fridge, so that's what I'm using. So feel free to use any lettuce you like. You'll want to slice the lettuce pretty thin, just like this. So everything that can be kept in the fridge before we start cooking is done, and now we can move on to our hot food items. So we're gonna start making our yellow rice. So here's everything you will need. Basmati rice, chicken broth, ghee or unsalted butter, turmeric, oregano, cumin, salt, and bay leaf. We have our pot over medium heat, and once it's hot, we're gonna add some ghee or unsalted butter. I prefer to use ghee, but your next best substitute is butter. Olive oil would be third. Make sure all the water is drained from the rice, and now we're gonna add it to our ghee or butter to toast it up a little bit. I highly recommend using chicken broth, but if you want to skip out on that, you can use water, of course. Just make sure to compensate with more seasoning since chicken broth is so flavorful. Now we're going to add a little bit of turmeric, some oregano, cumin, and of course you can't forget the salt. As you can hear, it's bubbling, so we're gonna drop the heat to low so that it can simmer. And then we'll cover it and let it cook for about 11 to 12 minutes. So once the time is up, we're gonna turn off the heat, keep it covered for another 10 minutes to finish off the cooking process. This is my #1 tip for getting rice that's super fluffy, not mushy, not undercooked, not overcooked. After I fluff it up, I like to quickly cover it up. That way I can keep it warm before we serve it. So here is the chicken after we cooked it on the skillet pan on medium-high heat just to sear both sides. It's not fully cooked on the inside. We're gonna chop it right now and throw it back into the pan to get some browning all over. I just want to say the reason why we cook it a little bit and then chop it up and cook it a bit more is to replicate that shawarma feel to the chicken. Obviously, we don't have a rotisserie where they shave the chicken, where each piece is toasted. So by cooking it first whole, we keep it juicy and we cut it and give it a quick sear to get that nice crispy outer edge on every little piece of chicken. Now for my favorite part, it's time to plate. And here is the final product. How good does this look? And that's it. That's how you make halal cart chicken and rice bowls at home and even better. Now let's finish it off with a taste test. That is really good. I'm so excited for you guys to try it out. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss when I upload a new recipe. Let me know down below in the comments what kind of videos you want to see next, and I'll catch you in the next one.